We begin the news at this hour in West Africa, where Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Olawale Edun, says the last time the economy looked stable was about a decade ago. He made this known on Friday during his maiden press conference, where he also outlined President Bola Tinubu's vision, agenda and strategy for the economy. Edun noted that the prevailing circumstances that necessitated the economic growth of the 2010s were not present today. Hence, the government has to allow private funding for certain problems. He listed foreign direct investments and domestic investment by Nigerians as ways in which the private sector can contribute to the president's strategy of economic recovery.
What we met as a team was a challenging situation in managing the finances of Nigeria. But as a strong team, we have immediately set to work to come up with solutions. We're expected to come up with solutions rather than focus on the problem. And one of the biggest is liquidity, is funding. Until the benefits of removal of subsidy feed through, and until NNPC's revenue from oil production going up feeds through, there is a challenge to balance the books, particularly in terms of foreign exchange. But what we can say is that really there is quite substantial sources of foreign exchange in Nigeria.
Joining us to discuss this further is Olusegun Okunade. He is an economic analyst. He joins us from Lagos, Nigeria. Thanks for giving us your time. Now, Tinubu's 8-point agenda include food security, ending poverty, economic growth and job creation, access to capital, improving security, improving the playing field for people and companies, rule of law, and fighting corruption. What are your expectations?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good evening to all our viewers this evening. The 8-point agenda that we had, for me, it's good, but I think we are having so much that we most of the time struggle to fulfill. As a matter of fact, the most cogent one that I feel is so much important is one, food security, considering the importance of food for the living of everything is a necessity that is needed by all. And when you talk about economic growth, there is a key factor that plays a major role there, and that is power. If we can work on the power in such a way that most people that need to contribute to the bottom line of the economy can have power supply, then we'll have that growth so that they can do that through paying their taxes to the government. And also our building infrastructure will play a major role. When you talk about having access to funds, that on its own, we also assist the startup business, which is a continuation of the focal point of the last administration. So they are key, but I would have loved a situation where we have like 4 or 5 agenda that can be broadened. You can have a 5 key agenda under which those other things will fall in. But I think food security is key. Infrastructure in terms of power is key. Having access to funds for the startup and the entrepreneur is also fundamental. And above all, provision of infrastructure that will aid the development of the economy is another common factor that the government needs to actually venture into.
Okay, Yar'Adua had a 7-point agenda. Buhari had a 9-point agenda, but this is where we are today as a country. What are the most critical issues to address in the execution of administrative plans in Nigeria?
Yeah, like I said at the first the intro, you see lots of agenda being placed by several administrations, but you ask yourself, how much of it are we able to achieve? So when we talk of the key thing that we need to address in terms of economic growth, we want to see a situation where the basic thing that assists the growth of every organization is very strategic. And we talk in terms of infrastructure provision in such a way that people can have access to power, like I said earlier, so that we can have more productivity. You see, we have the raw materials that is available to us as a nation. We have the human capital that is really out there for us to make use of. But the only thing we are lacking is the basic infrastructure that we enhance the processes of making life very easier for every individual as a nation. You see, when you compare us to the Asian country like China, we both practically have everything. In fact, they don't have some of the raw materials that we have, but they have the infrastructure that enhance the processes in making sure that they are able to annex the human capital, which they are based on their population, as we have here too in the country, and also the basic infrastructure that will make things to grow in the way that they should have it.
How can the private sector, in partnership with government, attract investors into the country? You say it's a collective effort.
Yeah, it's a collective effort, and I think government needs to just be intentional about the policies. I think I want to give kudos to this administration. When the president came in, he set up a presidential task force on fiscal policy and tax reform. That is very key and germane. They have been given a marching order in the next 1 month, 6 months, and 1 year to bring out how to annex the fiscal policy, talk in terms of the taxes to be paid in such a way that we will avoid the multiplicity of taxation, talk how the social contract on the part of the government can be fulfilled to people so that people will not be going on developing infrastructure. So if the fiscal policy committee set up by the president is able to do the needful, and we are able to implement some of the policy that they will bring up, you will see that it will assist us in area of our foreign exchange, which will enhance productivity. If you're able to produce more, there is no need putting pressure on our foreign exchange. But the reason why we have so much on our foreign exchange is because we are not producing anything locally, and it's because the economy is hostile even to every business owner that we have in the nation currently.
All right, Mr. Okwade, thank you very much for speaking with us.
It's a pleasure to be with you this evening.